The tiny concert hall began as a concept to bring music to the masses through affordable concert hall design. Beginning on an 8-foot by 20-foot trailer and evolving through different designs into a larger modular home structure and then a steel prefabricated building, the tiny concert hall grew to something much larger. Yet, in search of ultimate affordability, the steel structure concept seemed to need revision. It was too large and too expensive for most musicians to afford. Is there a less expensive model? Yes, there is. A Quonset hut. A Quonset hut was developed in the early 1900s in the United States as an affordable steel structure building which costs less than a traditional structure. A Quonset hut saves time and money and resources by creating a simple half-cylinder building with rounded roof and sides and a half-circle front and rear. This building saves steel and saves money. Let's find out how a Quonset hut might be a more affordable option for a tiny concert hall. Here is a footprint for a 24-foot by 26-foot Quonset hut. This drawing uses a scale of 1/2 inch equals 2 feet. Here's a 1/2 inch. This represents 2 feet. This Quonset hut is 24 feet by 26 feet. Now the sides are marked off with different colors. Notice that the height of the roof dramatically decreases at the edges. That means that not all this space is available for occupants. In fact, 2 to 4 feet might be impaired due to a low clearance on the ceiling. In this particular model, approximately 2 feet on either side is unavailable along the side of the Quonset hut. The next 2 feet, indicated by the light blue, is available but with a restricted height ceiling. The interior, in dark blue, has a lovely vaulted, rounded ceiling. Here is the main entrance to the tiny concert hall Quonset hut. It is in the center of the front of the building. I've added additional doors on either side of the main entrance. And I've placed emergency exits on the opposite side where the stage will be located. It may be necessary, according to local building code, to add additional emergency exits. These exits consist of doors cut into the sides of the Quonset hut. Notice that the door must be cut into the side for adequate clearance, or else a special roof must be built over the door in the side exit. This tiny concert hall has enough space for a stage 20 feet by 14 feet. That's large enough for a small chamber orchestra, such as might play music by Mozart. We can place a conductor's podium in the center at the front of the stage. And then we can add a small string section, a small number of woodwinds, brass, and percussion. The size and placement of the audience depends partly on local rules and regulations regarding emergency exits. In this diagram, the maximum expected audience may be fit in rows of 6 on either side of the center aisle, leaving 3 feet for each row, including chair and aisle. This leaves enough space for 4 rows. Here is the inside of the Quonset hut. This diagram shows the lovely vaulted ceiling of the half-cylinder shape. Here is the outside of the front of the Quonset hut. I've placed a grid over the Quonset hut so it is more obvious what the proportions and dimensions are. Notice the main entrance and additional doors, each of which features lovely half-circle decorative windows above the door. Also note the sloped ceiling and sides of the Quonset hut. Here's the side view, showing the cutout with emergency exit. The front view of the finished Quonset hut shows the steel structure of the hut, the rounded ceiling and walls, and the lovely wood doors, each topped with a semicircular decorative window to allow light into the building. The side is a simple steel structure with a door. This tiny concert hall has a capacity of up to 48 people in the audience, with an estimated maximum musician capacity of 41. This has been sponsored by Big Print Music and the Big Print Conducting Method.